Hello everyone, this is Rick. Welcome to episode 11 of the Gupta Empire series. And today, after discussing the political history of the Guptas, we are going to dive deep into the Gupta administration. Here we are going to see the administrative structure, administrative divisions, and responsibilities of various officials within the Gupta Empire. So, without doing any delay, let's get into details. Introduction to the Gupta administration. Dr. R. N. Seltor described the Gupta administration as a blend of past traditions and contemporary governance needs. The structure included the king, council of ministers, feudatories, state departments, and local officers. While the king held the supreme authority, constitutional checks were in place, like the Council of Ministers. The system was decentralized, with local administration extending to villages and towns. The administration focused on efficient governance, benevolent rule, and ensuring justice through multiple layers of authority. King's authority and governance structure. The king was the highest authority in the Gupta administration, but his rule was not absolute. He worked closely with the Council of Ministers, known as the Mantri Parishad, for governance advice. Provincial governors or feudatories managed distant region but were accountable to the king. The council played a key role in central and provincial administration, ensuring efficiency. The king had the final say in military, administrative, and judicial matters, with advice from his ministers. Role of feudatories and regional governance. Feudatories, like the Lichavis, were semi independent rulers who acknowledged the Gupta emperor. The king entrusted them with regional governance, tax collection, and maintaining law and order. Feudatories managed smaller kingdoms within the empire, such as Magad and Malwa. They were responsible for defending borders with local armies to protect the Gupta realm. In exchange, feudatories contributed to the central treasury and pledged loyalty to the emperor. City and village administration. City administration was overseen by officers known as Purapalas or Nagaradhakshas, who were the city governors. Villages were managed by Gramikas or heads who acted as the main local authority. City officers maintained records, collected taxes, and oversaw public safety and infrastructure. Local councils, called panchayats, were active in both judicial and administrative matters. These officers reported to provincial governors and ensured smooth functioning at the grassroots level. Revenue collection and taxation. Land revenue, known as Vag, was the largest source of income for the Gupta administration. Additional taxes like Udanga, which is produce tax, and Vata, which means customs duties, were levied on trade and goods. There were fines, dandadaya, for offences and specific taxes on salt, pastures, and markets. Royal exemptions were granted to religious institutions and soldiers, reducing their tax burden. Accurate records of taxes were kept by officers like Ralatavata, which is treasurer, and Akshapalata Pala, which is accountant. Judiciary system in the Gupta era. The judiciary was headed by Mahadandanayaka, which is the Chief Justice, and operated on principles from the Dharma Shastra. Local judges, dandas, handled minor civil and criminal cases, with appeals sent to higher courts. Punishments were typically fines, but in rare cases, capital punishment was implemented for severe crimes. The Gupta legal system aimed for fairness, using traditional Hindu legal text for guidance. Courts were present at local and provincial levels, ensuring access to justice across the empire. Law and order, punishments. The Gupta administration followed relatively mild punishments, focused on fines and public service. Punishments for crimes varied, with minor offenses often resulting in fines or short term imprisonment. Capital punishment was rare, reserved for serious crimes like treason or rebellion. Criminal law was based on Hindu texts like the Dharma Shastra, which focused on social harmony. Deterrence was key in Gupta law enforcement, with penalties aimed at preventing future offenses. Military organization and officers. The Gupta military was composed of infantry, cavalry, and elephant units essential for territorial defense. Military officers such as Senapati, which is commander in chief, and Baladhaksha, which is the army overseer, led the army. The empire's key military strategies involved defending the northwestern frontier against the Hunas. Feudatories were required to maintain their own armies, adding the central army during campaigns. The Gupta military maintained peace within the empire, securing trade routes and borders. King's Council, the Mantri Parishad. The Mantri Parishad, or Council of Ministers, advised the king on political, military, and administrative matters. Key officials included the Mahamadhyas, who are the high officers, and Kumaramatyas, who are the provincial governors. The council represented various sectors, including commerce, religion, and military. It played a crucial role in maintaining checks on king's decisions, ensuring constitutional governance. The Parishad was also responsible for diplomatic relations, taxation policies, and economic reforms. Civil officers and bureaucracy. The Gupta administration was supported by a vast bureaucracy led by officials like the Dravadi Karanikas, who are the land officers. Other important officers included the Aksha Patalika, district record keepers, and Vandagaradhikarta, which is the treasurer. The civil officers managed taxation, land records, legal matters, and public works at local level. Scribes and accountants, lekhakas, maintained accurate records, ensuring transparency in governance. The bureaucracy was crucial for the empire's stability, efficiently managing day to day administration. Provincial administration and governance. Provinces were governed by Kumaramatyas, who were the governors appointed directly by the king. Each province was further divided into districts, Vishayas, with Vishayapatis responsible for local administration. Governors managed both civil and military affairs, ensuring law and order in their provinces. Provincial governors reported directly to the central administration, ensuring efficient communication. Gupta provincial system helped maintain control over vast territories, balancing local autonomy with central authority. Sources of revenue and wealth distribution. The Vaga land tax and Karshapana coin tax were the main sources of revenue for the Gupta state. Fines and fees, such as those for public offences, Akradaya, also contributed significantly to state income. Trade taxes were imposed on valuable commodities, including silk, salt, and gold, enriching the empire. Exemptions were granted to certain groups like priests and soldiers, reducing their tax burdens. Revenue was distributed efficiently, funding public works, the military, and the royal treasury. Administrative divisions, district and local governance. The Gupta Empire was divided into several provinces, each managed by a governor who was Kumaramatya. Districts, Vishayas, within provinces were overseen by Vishayapatis, responsible for local law and order. Smaller administrative units within the districts ensured localized governance in villages and towns. Vishayapatis collected taxes, managed law enforcement, and reported to provincial governors. This multi layered system allowed the Gupta state to maintain efficient control over vast territories. Land revenue and agricultural management. Land revenue (VAG) was assessed based on the produce, including grain, fruits, and cattle. Taxes on agricultural produce were collected by the village officers, often paid in kind rather than currency. Officers like Ralatavata, which is the treasurer, maintained detailed records of tax collection from each region. The Gupta administration ensured fair land ownership policies, promoting agricultural productivity. Revenue collected were used for public projects, military upkeep, and maintaining administrative offices. Legacy of the Gupta administration. The Gupta administration's decentralization set the foundation for future Indian governance systems. Their use of provincial and local officers allowed for strong control over the empire's vast territory. The efficient tax system supported public works, economic growth, and military strength. Judicial and military reforms ensured a stable, peaceful, and prosperous society during their reign. The legacy of the Gupta administrative structure influenced subsequent Indian dynasties, including the Cholas and Rajputs. So that was all about Gupta administration. Hope you have liked the video. In this channel, I make videos regarding Indian history in great detail. These videos will be helpful to you if you are interested in history or if you are trying to crack any kind of competitive exam where history is very significant. So with your help and support, I wish to grow in future. Thank you so much for the love you have given me.